Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. My name is Amali. I'm the events coordinator here at Books Are Magic. And before we get started, I just have a few logistical points to go over. First off, we ask that you keep your mask on at all times for this event. We will be doing a hand-raised Q&A towards the end, so please start preparing any questions that you might have for Joy. And then after the talk tonight, Joy will be signing books at that desk where you checked in. And of course, as I mentioned before, we do have additional books for purchase. So at any point tonight, if you want to get a book or get another book, please feel encouraged to do so. And if you're joining us virtually on the YouTube live stream, we'd love to encourage you to buy a book of Turning online using the link in the live stream description. So with all that in mind, we are so very excited to introduce Joy L. Smith and Emma Straub, who are here with us celebrating the release of Joy's debut novel, Turning. In this young adult novel, we meet Jeannie, a former ballet student well on her way to becoming a prima ballerina, until she becomes wheelchair-bound after a devastating fall. Unable to pursue her passion for dance and neglected of the bright future that had once lay before her, Jeannie isolates herself from her former teacher, her best friends, and even her mother. Things then change when Jeannie meets Kyle, a quote-unquote used-to-be just like herself. Before a traumatic brain injury, Kyle used to tumble and flip on a gymnastics mat just as Jeannie twirled and leapt across the studio. The two quickly develop a deep bond, and Kyle's support helps Jeannie realize she is more than just a quote-unquote used to be. Together, they help each other heal from the past, confront the present, and prepare for the future. Joy L. Smith is a child care professional and lives in Queens, New York. A graduate of SUNY New Paltz, she has a bachelor's degree in human development and differences with a specialization in communication disorders. She's been writing since she was a teenager and has been mentored by Ibi Zaboy, Radha Blank, and Emma Straub through the Girls Write Now program. Turning is her debut novel. Joy, as I mentioned before, is in conversation with Emma Straub, who is the New York Times bestselling author of 4 novels, All Adults Here, The Vacationers, Modern Lovers, Laura Lamont's Life in Pictures, and the short story collection Other People We Married. Her upcoming novel, This Time Tomorrow, is available for pre-order today. Her books have been published in 20 countries, and of course, she and her husband own Books Are Magic, an independent bookstore in Brooklyn, New York. So, without further delay, everyone, please help me give a very warm welcome to Joy and Emma.
Thank you all for coming.
If you want to demask
for
the event, so everyone can really hear you.
Okay, thank you all for coming. I appreciate seeing everyone here.
Yay, Joy! I'm so excited. Joy asked me, so as you just heard in the introduction, I have known Joy since she was a teen, and she just asked me if I was going to say anything embarrassing, and the answer is no. No.
Okay, thank you.
But what I do want to say, I don't think this will embarrass you, it's just compliments. But what I want to start out by saying is that I wasn't even like this surprised when I saw the news that you were publishing a novel. I feel like I've been waiting because you were always, even as a teenager, you were so passionate and so driven, and it was just a matter of time. And so I was like, yes!
Thank you.
So I think Joy is going to read to us first, and then I'm going to harass her with a lot of questions. So please, what are you going to read to us?
I'm going to read a part in the story where I guess Jeannie gets her groove back a little bit. She's starting to become herself again, and she's going out with Kyle, who invited her, to hang out, which she hadn't done, since before her accident. So she's, trying to figure out an outfit to wear. Yeah. This is chapter 14, The Floor. I'm officially tripping this morning. The music won't stop, not unless I add movement to it. The music will just have to keep playing while I scavenge through dance notation books. I pull out several notebooks, some with lines, some without, all with circles and arrows, representing travel across the stage and words in French, my life before I lost sight of it. Slowly, I flip through the pages as if they're artifacts, invaluable as the Declaration of Independence or Van Gogh's paintings. These are all my creations, my visions put into 2D. I've guarded them with my life, locking them in a box as if a burglar would want to steal some girl's dance on pages. I should email Miss Kuznetsova. Wait, no, not yet. Remembering choreo is one thing, it's another to go back to VAB. If the steps are coming back to me, though, maybe Hannah was right. Maybe I don't have to dance to be in ballet, but who will take me seriously? I mean, yay, I made a magazine cover. That doesn't mean I have a following of people who want to see my dances or commission them. The CIA couldn't find my choreography. All dancers put together little steps every now and again, and many go on to do it once they made their way through the ranks. Still, I never put it out there. Magic was to be my debut. There's not an empty page left in any of these books. When did I have time to do all this? I have all the time in the world now, and I haven't gone back to choreography. Couldn't go back to my books. After I fell, the music stopped. Kyle breathed it back into me, a rescue breath of sorts. I was chill with my confession on seeing him, but nothing happened until I heard his breath. I'm sure it was the breathing, slow, precise, steady. I can feel a difference in me. Since the call, my arms are doing more than lifting me out my chair or pushing me around. I caught myself practicing a porta bra in the mirror this morning, smacked my arm into a dresser, knocking me right out my trance. Kyle asked to see me again, but not at St. Nicholas, which makes me nervous. Not being at St. Nicholas makes it feel like a date. We haven't called it one either, so I shouldn't feel so antsy, and yet I am. Honestly, I won't be at VAB, and Hannah hasn't texted me back, so Kyle it is. It'll be a chance to get away from Mom, let her work things out without having to see me or fix something for me just because I can't reach the stove safely. And I can tell Kyle about my dances, how for the first time in a long time, I've done something that I could do before my accident. Remember my dances, make new dances. Of course, there's a good chance that I'm getting hyped over nothing. That's enough to get me to lock my books back and come back to reality. No one wants to dance the work of a paraplegic teenager who hadn't even received a company offer. Maybe it's time I think about going to college, becoming a math teacher like Mom. I pretty much tutored everyone at VAB. Apparently, Mom did the same at her community college. That's how she made tuition credit and a little side cash. The book Kyle smuggled me still rests on my bed. I don't open it though, because I'll only stare at the pictures when I should be getting ready. I need to get dressed in actual clothes. No more sweatpants depression, aka homeless sheep. The clothes in my closet, however, hover above me. Jeans dark, light, and red line up nearly ready to be worn. They're too difficult to put on, and I scan the corner of my closet. Several dresses sway back and forth as I run my hand over the floral and denim fabrics. A dress will show my legs. I don't want that. Maybe Hannah could help. I quickly shut down that idea. I don't want Hannah finding out about this yet. She'll take it all wrong that I can be with Kyle, but not at VAB. Pilates is on her mind right now. Des too, probably. By the time she gets to her phone, Kyle might as well be on a plane to California. It'll take that long. I've got it. I pushed everything to the left until I find the red culprit hiding all the way in the back, bought just a few days before my accident. It literally screamed at me from the storefront window. Are you really going to walk by? A question? Rather rudely, I might add. The skirt is long and flowy from my chair's height, brushing the floor like a curtain with a stage. Easy to put on with leg coverage, perfect. And this heat, a black crop top completes it. The only thing that would make it better would be if I could stand in it.
Thank you. Okay, I want to start with Jeannie because I loved her and I think she's such a terrific character. Where did she come from? Like, is that where the story started? Did it start with her, or were you thinking about ballet? Where did she come from?
I always say that I just had the idea of just seeing a ballerina at a bar, and that could just be the story for me. So I just thought, well, what if she couldn't dance anymore? And so, that's how it progressed. And Jeannie, and I guess her personality, I would think if she made it that far to be this devastated over not dancing again, she had to be really good, and she had to be really obsessed. And then I'm really obsessed with like theater, so that she kind of has like my personality with that. So that's how I got her.
Yeah, I we're gonna get to theater. Don't you worry. But I think it's one of the things that I really loved about the book is that you look at the cover and you understand so much about it. You understand that it's a ballet book, but you get that it's a ballet. The idea of a ballet book is being subverted right away because it's a ballet book in which the ballerina doesn't dance, right? Did you know that you always wanted to start there? Like, did you ever think about like, oh, maybe, I don't know, to like have the story start before her accident and have like, have that be like the main action of the story rather than starting after it's already done and sort of working some information in?
It always started after the accident. Like, I guess I kind of thought of it as a media rest a little bit. Like, I wanted it to start like, at her bottom, and I didn't want to build up to it. I kind of wanted to, kind of like a mystery in sorts. I think in the beginning, like drafts, like everything kind of hitting about like her fall and like and everything, and then over the years that I worked on it, everyone was just kind of like, just bring it to light a little bit earlier. So I think I wanted to be forward with her having the fall first, and then like everyone just kind of figuring out, what happened and like how everyone is taking to her fall as well.
Yeah. Okay, so what you just said makes me think that you worked on this story for a very long time.
It's been a few years, yeah.
How many years is a few years?
I think I started working on the story in 2016, and I think it took years after 2016 before it got representation, and I think it took like 2.5 years, or maybe a little bit more, to sell. So it's been a few good years.
Yeah. But so, and how much did the story change? Like, did you? I mean, I always think that when I'm working on something for a long time, it's often that like, I'm sort of trying to shove a story a certain direction when really it actually wants to go the other direction. Like, when once you figure out, oh, I should have turned left instead of right, or whatever it was in the storyline, that things sort of get into gear, or that can happen obviously over and over again. Were there things that changed, like major plot points or character points that changed over the course of your writing?
Pretty much mostly everything is the same. I will say in the earlier drafts, her dad had more page time, and we scrapped that. He didn't need to be in there that much. But and also her stepmom was in there a bit more, and my agent was like, no. He was like, no, we don't need that. Focus more, on her, and don't worry about bringing too many people into it. So basically, everyone was the same. I would say everything. Well, not the same, but it was pretty similar to what the earlier drafts were. Yeah.
Okay, so as you said, you and Jeannie share a certain obsession, I think was your word, with something, and it's performance, right? What is it, either for you or for Jeannie, or for you and Jeannie, that let me back up. Why do you think that sort of obsession works so well for Jeannie in this story? Because I think it does. And like, where does your background in loving theater and being so devoted to theater, how did that inform how you told this story?
I mean, I feel like because it was important, because her being a black ballerina and all, there isn't many, in companies and things like that you see. And I just felt like if she wanted to be a professional, that she would have to be really good, and she would have to work on her craft, and she would have to, spend most of her time dancing. And then I kind of thought about, like, I mean, I love theater, but I'm not a performer myself. But like, I kind of think of myself in like, how many shows can I see this month? Kind of like a game, kind of like how much further can I get? And so it's just kind of like, what would I do if I couldn't see theater anymore? Or rather, what would I do if I couldn't see theater the way I see it now? Like, I don't know. I kind of just thought about, maybe, what if I went blind? What if I went deaf? Like, how would I still get into theater and things like that? And so I think the session part is just me kind of just coming off on a page. Like, I was just kind of like, oh, she has to do this, she has to do this, she has to do this, otherwise she'll die,
Yeah.
kind of like thing. She kind of says that in the story. She's just kind of like, I almost died, because I love, ballet so much. And I'm just like, I've almost died because I love theater so much. I've walked across the street, trying to get to a theater without quite looking, things like that. So I think that's where it comes from. Yeah.
Did you do a lot of research in, like, because I think that there are two things in this book that I think you really needed to get right in order for it to work. You needed to get ballet right, and then you also needed to get the feeling of a person who has been completely in charge of their body, and like a really total athlete having that totally taken away from them. And so did you do a lot of research into either ballet or paralysis?
I did. So first I'll start with, I had sensitivity readers, which is really important because, I can't walk, and I've never been paralyzed, and I've never been that, out of my body before. So I had 2 sensitivity readers, in my later drafts of this version, and they were really informative because they lived their life in a chair, and they know what it's like, to go through the world, not just being able to open up a door like the way we do. So that was really important for me, and to get that right, because I didn't want to offend anybody, and I wanted to make sure that everyone felt represented correctly. And as far as ballet goes, I could just watch YouTube, all day long. So I did a lot of Vaganova Academy videos on YouTube, which is like from the Bolshoi. And I watch a lot of dances, I watch a lot of ballets and stuff like that. So that was pretty easy. I'd say that was the easy part, but talking to people and, asking them, like, is this right? Like, how would she get out of her chair? How would she get into her bed? How would she get into the tub? Things like that. I also watched a lot of YouTube videos for that too.
Yeah.
And then also at one point I wanted to be a physical therapist. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know. But so I just kind of interested in it. So it was pretty interesting to just, look online and like look on forums, those things and stuff like that, and talk to people and talk to physical therapists as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it works so well, and I think that you did it, and I'm so glad that you had readers who could speak directly to their experience and who could really bring a lot to, to point out things or to,
Yeah, I'm really grateful to.
Yeah, and I think, it's interesting. I think that in YA, sensitivity readers are so common, and for adult fiction, they're not at all. And I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe some of the publishing people in the room can.
I don't know. Maybe it's because when you're writing for like teenagers and stuff, you want to make sure that they're getting the right information. You don't want them to leave, their teenage world like so misinformed and things like that. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, the idiot grown-ups though, they're fine. So one of the other things that I loved about this book so much, Joy, is that you tackle, it sounds quite serious, I think, what we're saying about obsession and paralysis, and there's a lot of quite heavy stuff in the book, but Jeannie's voice is so funny that it never feels too heavy. How did you decide, or maybe not decide, maybe decide is the wrong word, but like, how did you figure out the right tone for the book?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I feel like me, she's pretty like sensitive to like dry humor and things like that. So I just thought maybe she could make fun of herself a little bit, to kind of get through like the pain, make herself laugh a little bit. And so I think we're all kind of like that in a way. So she just kind of like dry humor, throw it at it. Maybe people won't like dig too deep. If I make them laugh or like, you know, she just kind of skirts around the issues a little bit. She doesn't have to think too hard herself.
Yeah, it's sort of self-protective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so, it works so well for her as this sort of armor, but then it's also just pleasurable for the reader, which is nice too. I want to hear more about your writing process, because I think that debut novels, I think, are like they're this sort of magical thing, because you can work on them forever. You have an unlimited time. Nobody has their stopwatch out. You can write 20 novels before you publish a debut novel, and nobody, either you don't ever have to tell anybody, or you can tell anybody. But how did you get here? Like let's say starting at Girls Right Now, where I met you, little baby Joy, to now, in terms of your writing. Like what do you think? What were the big steps that led you to this debut novel?
I would say that's interesting, because I feel like I took a long time off of writing a bit. Like before I left like my freshman year of college, I became a creative writing major, and I didn't take any classes for it because I took time off before I even had to. So I think I just kind of like, when I realized that I wanted to like write again, because I took so much time, I had taken a children's literature course for like a class, like an English class, and then I was just kind of like, all the projects I just wanted to write, and I was just like, this is so fun, everyone's just kind of like in class like, this is so boring, like, why are we writing and stuff, and I'm like, this is really fun, like, I'm enjoying myself, and I'm just like, oh wait, I like to write. So like, I was just like, why don't I just keep writing? And then I just started writing for myself again, which I think is really important. I didn't write with the intention on just getting published or anything. I just, was writing and having fun, and like sharing it with other people who like to write, and they were like, this is really good, you should try to get representation, and I was just kind of like, okay, I'll try. And I tried it, and it worked out for me, so I can't complain.
I see. So you're just floating through, Joy.
I'm just going with the flow.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up to anyone. I have one more question, and then I expect to see all hands raised immediately. So okay, I said I wouldn't embarrass you, and I don't know if this will, but
Oh boy.
well, but if I'm correct in my remembering, when you were a teenager, you wrote all the time, and you and Cherish were like, I think, writing like a fantasy epic.
Was it no, it wasn't fantasy, right, Josh? No.
Oh, it wasn't
I
fantasy.
think it was contemporary too.
Oh, it was contemporary. Okay, I was like, did Joy go from like? Okay, that was my memory. Okay, well, are there other, like, what interests you next? Like, is there a Broadway book?
Okay. So I am writing like the theater book of like my heart, like, so hopefully I'll finish it. It's just kind of sitting here right now, but I am writing a book about, it'll have a lot of nuggets and stuff. So I guess if you're not a theater fan, you'll be so confused. You'll be like, what is happening? But and just a lot of like, it's just about two kids who love theater, and things like that. And like, I'm just thinking back to when I I invited you to my high school production of Grease. I wasn't in it. I was just like the stage manager, and I remember like pulling my hair out because I was like, these kids don't take theater seriously. Theater's my life. I'm just like, this is crazy. I wanted to quit. I remember like the director was like, please don't quit, and I'm just like, I'm gonna quit. Like, I didn't quit, but I remember. So basically, this book is just about what happens when you don't show up, when you had to lead, to the show that you wanted, and you don't show up at all. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think, Joy, anytime you describe a book, anyone describes a book as the, fill in the blank book of my heart, that's it, that's what we all want. That's what we all want. So please keep going. Okay, now it's time for everybody to raise their hands.
Not all at once.
Anybody, any questions? Anybody? Nobody?
Do you plan to stick with YA as a genre, or are you thinking like different ages?
Oh, do I plan on sticking on YA as a genre or going
Like older?
older, younger?
Adult? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I do have like middle grades that I was working on, so I would think I'll go a little bit younger. I think mostly I'll stay in YA. I don't know. I feel more comfortable writing for like teenagers, so to speak. I guess I'm still kind of like a teenager in my head, so that's why. Yeah.
I think of you as from the premise of this, learning about it, and just, the time I was looking at this film with you, you're so original, so I wonder if the answer is that you don't really need this, but I'm curious, you referred to ballet books, and then I remembered, oh yeah, that is sort of that's a YA little niche right there. I'm just wondering, do you have influences that you feel like inspired you here? Are there writers where you're like, that really got me thinking about how I'm gonna make this book? Writers you admire?
Yeah, so writers I admire. When I was writing this book, Brandy Colbert, who's a YA author, she also writes middle grade too. She has this ballet book too called Point, and I was writing it, and I was like, when I was writing this, I was like reading her book too, and I was like, wow, I can do that. Like my book can be on the shelf next to hers. Not really because she's a C and I'm an S, but I was just like, oh yeah. Yeah, that. So I admire Brandy Colbert's work so much too, and she has so many books. If anyone doesn't know who she is, she has a lot of books. But she writes such simple stories, but they have a lot of like heart to them. Very meaty stories. But hers, there's also like tiny pretty things, And then I was going through the publishing journey. I was just like, oh, I can do this. There's a lot of us out here. There's Christina Forrest has one as well, and I was just like, oh wow, yeah. We could fill a table, So happy to be a part of it. Yes.
I was wondering if your work with kids informs your writing and in what ways.
I work with preschoolers. My class is 2s and 3s, so no. But they have seen the book before, and I had one who was just like, Joy's book. This is Joy's book,
Aww.
But I did think about writing picture books, and I did play around with it, but I don't think I had the voice yet for it. But I'm working on it. I'm learning. I'm trying. But I appreciate, I like picture books just to read for myself, more so than to write. But yeah, that's a good question though.
Yeah.
Do you feel like her story is done with this book, or do you feel like she has more to say?
Do I feel like the story's done with this book? That's funny because I had people tell me they want to know what happens to Jeannie afterwards, and I'm just like, oh, I could have made this a duology. I didn't realize. But
Before, after,
yeah, I could do before too, actually. But I can see working on another one. I haven't really thought about it, but I can see it. Yeah, see it.
Oh, it's funny she asked that question because as the mother, I said it's gonna be a sequel, right? She told me flat, no.
I mean,
Something to look forward to.
thanks, Mom. Any other questions? Yes.
Now that ballet is back, and have you gone to see any performances?
I haven't, and you know what's funny? I had tickets. Well, I didn't have tickets, but I was gonna go see. The Bolshoi tends to screen ballets live, and I was gonna go see Swan Lake because Jeannie likes Swan Lake, and she has these posters up in her room and stuff like that, and she talks about being a black swan all the time. But and then they canceled it, I guess because of what's going on in the world right now. And I was like, no, I had this whole like post I was gonna do, like Jeannie's favorite like music, like ballet, and and I was gonna like do this whole thing. But I do want to go, and I realized the Dance Theater of Harlem, they have shows like happening next month, and I'm like, oh, I have to go. I have to go to that. Yeah. Any more questions? Yes.
Since it's your first book and everything, was there anything about the process of like getting published and getting it to the shelf like that really surprised you, or that you just like had no idea happened in that process?
So like what part of the process surprised me being my first book?
Yeah, like within like, because I think sometimes people think they know how publishing gets done and how a book gets on shelf, but I think there's always like surprises that like, especially as a new author, you probably were like, oh, I didn't know that's a thing. So.
Oh yeah, well, okay, yeah. So I think what surprised me most was like the amount of people that you have like working on your book. Like I got an email with like you were in it, and I was just like, who are all these people? And they're just like, I was like, who's working? And then they're like, I'm the like marketing and like like all this stuff, and I'm just like, I just wrote it. I don't know what you want me to do. Like I don't know what to do. So I guess the amount of people who actually working on your story, from like the art director, the editor, like the editor's assistant, all these people. And I guess also what surprised me most was, I mean, I knew it took a long time, but I'm just like, wow, it takes a long time. Because like there would be times where like months where like nothing would happen, and I'd just be like, did they forget about me? Like, and then like out of nowhere, I have like 5-6 emails to everyone like, here's your date, give it to us, and I'm just like, I just literally just, you guys forgot about me, like thanks, like so. I think that what also surprised me how long it takes, and things like that. That's a good question.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, at any point during the writing of the book, did you have writer's block? And if you did, how did you push through that?
Actually, did I have writer's block at any point in writing?
Yeah.
No, I would say no. I think I do better when I actually get like critiques to go off of. I think that's more helpful for me, and then I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But I don't think I ever had writer's block, so to speak. I mean, there were times I was just like, I don't want to do this right now, but like, I didn't have writer's block. But I work better off of like critique. When I got my edit letter and things like that, I'm like, yes, I can do something. It gives me like something to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I never understand when writers who get like salty about like a long edit letter or something like that. Like I feel like it's the best, like because that person cares so much and is really paying attention and like really just wants to help you make it better.
Yeah, I was like, help, the cavalry is here. This is great. I was like, if I had to do it on my own, like if you didn't have editors, it just would be a mess. They really help.
All right, Joy, my last question is, this is sometimes a stumper in a bookstore, so just be ready. What have you read lately that you loved, or what are you into reading right now? Can you give us something?
I read a lot of YA because I write it, so, and also again I'm still a teenager. Like I don't know, but the last thing I read was Brandy Coburt's nonfiction novel, Blackbirds in the Sky. Yeah, that's it, right? Thank you, Nicole. And I thought it was really good. I don't read nonfiction a lot, but I thought it was like so good because the story like weaves in like actual survivors of the Tulsa like race riot of like 1921. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know about this. Like, I knew about it, but I didn't know about it. So I really like that. And I think what's next on my list is another ballet book called The Turning Point. And I've heard good things about it, and I'm friends with the author. So, yeah. So I'm reading that next. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much, Joy. Please, everyone, give Joy a big round of applause.
Thank you.
And we're gonna go park Joy up where you came in so you can get your book signed. You could get another book for a friend and get that book signed. Joy, I think, would be delighted to sign all of your books.
I have stickers and bookmarks too.
Oh my gosh, she came prepared. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, I want to take